Luck or fate chose me to be among the millions who marched east in the summer of 1941 when Operation Barbarossa began. I was just 22, a soldier in the Wehrmacht swept into what our commanders called the greatest campaign in history. We believed them. The first months felt unstoppable. Endless columns of panzers, Luftwaffe above us, villages burning in our wake. We crossed rivers, forests and plains faster than any of us imagined. By autumn, we stood at the gates of Moscow. We thought the war would end in weeks. But Russia was not Europe. The land swallowed us. Mud slowed the panzers. Then came the winter, a cold I had never known, a cold that cut through steel. Supply lines stretched thin, men froze where they stood, and yet we pressed on. By 1942, new orders came south, toward the Volga, toward Stalingrad. Stalingrad. The name itself carried weight, the city of Stalin, a symbol. We were told to take it, to break the enemy's spirit. In the summer, we believed again. We reached the outskirts by September, and from there, everything changed. At first, victory seemed certain. The Luftwaffe rained destruction until whole districts burned to ash. We pushed the Soviets back to the river's edge. Some of us believed they had nowhere left to stand, but they refused to retreat. They clung to the city like it was their last breath. Every factory became a fortress, every street a battlefield. For every meter we gained, the Soviets counterattacked with twice the fury. What we thought would be quick became a struggle without end. The city was already rubble, yet every building was a fortress. Fighting there was no war of sweeping movements. It was Rattenkrieg, a war of rats. Room to room, stairwell to stairwell. I crawled through sewers, hid in shattered factories, traded bullets across half-collapsed walls. Days bled into nights. We fought for meters, not miles. Then November came. Winter returned, crueler than before. On the 19th, the Soviets struck with Operation Uranus. Our allies, Romanians, Italians, Hungarians, collapsed under the assault. And in days, the jaws closed. We, the Sixth Army, were trapped. By day 100 of the siege, hunger was our constant companion. We boiled horseflesh, then belts and leather. Frostbite spread like a disease. Men wrapped rags around their feet when boots fell apart. The Volga froze, but across its ice, Soviet reinforcements poured without end. Our commanders told us to hold. Hitler demanded we fight to the last bullet. But what bullets, what rations, what hope? January 1943. The city became a tomb. Bombardments shook the ruins until dust coated our tongues. Entire units ceased to exist. At times, I looked across a shattered street and saw Soviet soldiers in the same misery, too exhausted to raise their rifles. We were enemies, but in that moment we were the same. Dying man in a frozen grave. On February 2nd it ended. Field Marshal Paulus surrendered. Of the 250,000 who entered the cauldron, fewer than 90,000 remained. I dropped my rifle into the snow, my hands trembling from weakness more than fear. The march east began. Hundreds of kilometers. Starvation, frostbite, death. Many collapsed on the road. Few rose again. I survived, if that can be called survival. My destination was Siberia. There the war did not end, it simply changed shape. Prison camps, barbed wire, endless forests. We cut timber, shoveled snow, lived on thin soup and scraps of bread. Men around me wasted away year after year. Some dreamed of home, others gave up dreaming. I never saw Germany again. My war ended not in glory but in silence, behind the fences of a Siberian camp. And when death finally came for me there, decades later, I still ask myself, was it luck that brought me to Stalingrad, or punishment written long before I ever marched east? That was my story. For similar stories, don't forget to subscribe to our channel.